Hello. How are you? Who's here first? Thanks for joining. I want to say that to everybody. And I want to give a special shout out to Pops. Okay? Pops, I think he said he had made a comment for the first time. And guess what? I didn't even see his comment. Pops, if you are here tonight, I want to say hello and thank you. That was so sweet because, our Chatmosphere family, everybody was so nice to him. I saw that later. They were like, welcome, Pops. So if Pops is around, I hope I see you tonight. Hello, Empress Vibes, our first one here. DT girl, hello. You made it in a time. I'm so glad to see you. 420 Wild Dragon is here. CW, hello. Oh, you're welcome. Oh, that's so sweet of you. Thank you. Yeah, this conversation should be going on more. Hi, Juan. Thanks for being here. CC in Virginia. Evolutions. Hello. Evolutions leaves the nicest links. Always like a video, like a music video. Very nice. I appreciate that. And Ashley, hello. I hope and pray Trump isn't involved in this other than getting the scoop to take Epstein down. My heart is heavy for the children who went through the abuse, sending love and healing vibrations out. I'm glad you said that, Ashley, as many of us are having to face information coming out. His name is of course, we knew that he knew him. He was part of I think, wasn't he a member of Mar-a-Lago? He got kicked out. The whole thing, we are hoping that he's not involved, right? Yeah, we are. Some people are really sure about it. And some people are kind of on the fence now as more things are coming out. And I think that most of us will probably feel the same way, that we have allegiance to the children above all else. That means no matter who the person, man, woman, human, whoever's involved in these kind of crimes, it's just our loyalty is for the children. So we all want the truth. We want, look, everybody who is connected, who has flown on his planes, Epstein's planes, whether it was the Lolita or other planes, helicopters, whatever, go-karts, everybody should be involved in these cases, right? Everybody, and give an account, because that's what we want, is the truth, regardless of our loyalties, our political parties. Am I right? Am I wrong? This is my opinion. So I just want to say that. So thank you, Ashley. T. Witten, hello. Thanks for joining. Hey, Tam, how are you? Sunny day, hello. And Abe, hello. Hello, Arias. Hello, I was just watching episode from last night, but this is much better. Happy to be. Thank you, Lisa. Oh, I love it that you're here. Blue Skies Mom. Hello, thank you. Now, Blue Skies Mom has been around for the 2 years that we've all been hanging out. Hey, Abby. Hello. Love, laugh, live. How are you? Another one that's been around for so long. We have to celebrate our anniversary. All are welcome, our new friends, old friends. Hello, David. How are you? And our Harlem Sentinel is Karen Scott. Meep, meep. Family on deck. Yay. Now we want to send prayers Karen's way. Karen is hanging out with her family, and it's so beautiful. I love seeing all of her family pictures that she shares on social media. She recently lost her beloved aunt, and we send you love, Karen. We love you. You're such a great sister, and blessings to your family. I've been praying for you all to have comfort as you are together and processing your loss. Hey, Jan, how are you? Heather, hello, hello, hello. Nixon, good evening. And Marlon, bonjour. Marlon is a wonderful, wonderful brother. And Destiny Rose, meep meep, happy Friday, Friday, I should call it. Laura, hello. Prayers at Abe. Oh, what's going on, Abe? We need to send prayers for Abe. I missed whatever's going on, but I love that people are paying attention. Hello, Yolanda. And David says Trump never went to the island. Okay. Well, you know what? Listen. The island was not the only place, unfortunately. I know we focus on the island, but there were other properties, okay? So we just want a definitive, okay? There was New York Townhouse. There were Palm Beach, there's a Palm Beach home. There's a New Mexico ranch. So I'm just putting it out there. I'm not saying that I have gone either side. Again, I'm trying to be as objective as I possibly can and preparing for whatever we hear, because this is massive. And again, I side with children, the children. It's always been about the children first for me. Whatever is happening with children in our world, it is bigger, much bigger than I can even imagine. So I hear you. But again, like if we were debating with, like, say, the other side, they would come back with that as a retort. They would say it's not just the island. And also another thing, there was Little St. James. There was Greater St. James. There were at least two islands that were in the proper, in like Epstein owned. Lots. He had London. Where else? Like, do you all know all over the world properties? Hello, Linda. How are you? Kimberly, hello. Adam's here. Thank you. Thank you, Sharon. Thanks for joining. So I just want to say, like, this is so, it's just upsetting. Hello, Philo Bobcat 34, Charlotte's Web. Happy Friday. Brenda, Tracy Wu, Merry Weekend over in Hong Kong. You are on the next day, right? You're ahead of us a day. Hello, Albert. Hello. This is a movie. All has been done already. We are just watching the process of the deep sleepers slowly awakening. Thank you, Albert, for joining and for sharing that. I appreciate that a lot. Hey, Joyce, how are you? So I just want to get some hellos out of the way. Hopefully you are not annoyed. I once got a lady that said, get on with it already. Hey, Sharon. Sharon is saying that Trump would not be part of the evil. Trust. I, who is the Lord, has anointed to save humanity. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you. Thank you. And Albert says Trump is true blue. God has chosen him to take down evil across the world. Okay, so we're getting lots of. I'm gonna just maintain I'm gonna try to stay as objective as possible, but I appreciate you all just sharing everything. Okay, Paul, I caught a live stream. You're off tonight. Good. Very good. Hey, Dee, Trump's plane was being worked on. He caught an emergency flight with Epstein's brother to New York City, is what I have been hearing. Okay, thank you. Fill all that in for the people, because I want us to recognize that we have new people that are awakening to this stuff. Maybe last year when we were talking about this stuff, or maybe in 2016 when we were talking about, that food that you eat that comes from a parlor. I'm not going to mention it. People thought we were absolutely cuckoo, okay? They were not ready to hear these things. And that particular set of researchers that came out around that time, they were, what is the word that I want to use? They were effectively neutralized, okay? And what happens, as you can see, especially looking back in retrospect, what happens is the three-letter agencies, they send all their Cointelpro agents to come out. And what they do is they work with the media. You're on the same song page with me. They work with media assets to, plug stories and also debunk things. And they gave it that term, gate. When you put, like, Watergate, everything became something gate. That became that food that you get from a parlor, gate. And no one that researched that in the initial days of that ever called it that. It was just called, what they did is they brought attention to the fact that there were official FBI symbols that were used to cloak the real meaning of things. So that particular group that has the proclivities for children, minor attracted people, MAPS, they have symbology. And the FBI actually, it's on the FBI, or it was. I don't frequent the FBI's website, but it was an official. You all know this, right? I just want to make sure when we're talking, we don't forget that some people are just coming awake to these things. They didn't want to face it, but they are. Thank you, Evolutions. There you are. That was done to make everybody look cuckoo, to give it that name, gate. Do you understand how they do these things? And that way, the people that are not awake to it, they just look at it and they're like, what are these people talking about? Like, that's food. What are, but they don't understand how deep this goes, and that these people literally have symbols that they communicate through, and it's really sick. So I just want to just say that let us be mindful. If you don't mind, like you always do, put in things in the chatmosphere. If you have to do the emojis or other things, put them in there for new people. If anybody is asking a question, like, I don't know what you guys are talking about, be helpful, because that's what we want to do. Anybody who's just coming into this awakening, we want to be people that are open-armed and share information. Okay. So that's something that, yeah. That was what it was called. Thank you, Cece. They gave it that name, again, to make everybody sound crazy. But we see what they've done, and we are more astute to Cointelpro. We know how it works. Like I said, I brought up movements. Anytime there is a movement of truth, of humanity that is moving the needle forward to make a better world, it gets infiltrated every time. And these agencies send out their operatives, and they infiltrate because it's better for them to infiltrate from within. So they have sort of like these sleepers that kind of hang out, and they get activated at some point. These people, this is what they do. They study this stuff, and they do it like a science, and they know the art of infiltration. Okay, so I just want you to know that. And don't feel bad if you've been looked at as some crazy conspiracy theorist, because again, another thing about that term conspiracy theory, for anybody who's new to that, that started with the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. That's when that term came into use, conspiracy theorists, to shut down questioning. And that's all we want to do, is question everything, research, and not accept an official narrative. And when you do that, you'll be termed a conspiracy theorist. You'll be termed, crazy, tinfoil hat, all that stuff. Just like anything they want to debunk, it's a conspiracy theory. And actually, what it does is it's backfiring at this point, because anytime they say something has been debunked or it's a conspiracy theory, it actually it adds credence to whatever they're trying to shut down. Yes. Okay. Hey, to Money Honey, thank you. I'm glad you made it. Very nice. So tonight I want to talk about a person whose name gets tossed around just occasionally. But I'm starting to realize this person needs to come forward. This person and their wife and all of their whoever is affiliated, this is where all roads lead. when we talk about this international operation. And another thing that I know we talked about, and I'll get into it a little bit more, there is a nation that has an agency that has been doing so many things around the globe, who hasn't been involved in our politics here in America. And this nation, you cannot scrutinize this nation. And anybody, any group that you cannot bring a critical analysis towards, that is who controls you. Have you ever heard that term? Whoever you are not allowed to criticize in our society, that's who is controlling the society, right? Because everybody, no one is above reproach. Every group should be analyzed. Every person should be analyzed. When we are talking about things on this level, we have to make sure we never have these things happen in our society. We have to be honest, and we're going to have some uncomfortable conversations, right? The so-called elites. Exactly. The so-called elites. So just wanted to say that. Okay, so the person's name, the elephant in the room, all the things you want to say, his name is Les Wexner. Les Wexner, for anybody who is not familiar with his name. And I just want to say story time before I start. Les Wexner, you know how it's like these 6 degrees of separation? I told you I was going to talk about, I was a personal, like, kind of caretaker. It was nurse. I was in between, kind of like, because I had become very ill. And I took some time off to recuperate, and I did other things. Like I worked for a college in New York. I worked for Barnard, which is across from Columbia. And I worked for like an event, like she was the director of events. So nurses need to know when they have to step away. And I've done that a few times in my career, stepped away to do different things, okay? Because nurses are always seeing traumatic things. So in order to make sure that you are okay and well, you need to step away from constantly being bombarded with trauma, right? All my nurses, I'm sure you agree. If you've stayed in the career like too long, you know when you need, hopefully you know when you need to do self-care. But anyway, while I was doing just odd jobs and things, I happened to meet a relative of Les Wexner in Los Angeles. I won't get into the particulars because, I don't want to share the personal things, but this particular relative of his, a horrible person, a very abusive person, always wanted me to get in touch with Les and his wife, Abigail. And I wouldn't, it was something weird. This is way before I knew about any of this stuff. So when this relative would ask me to contact him, because this relative wanted him to finance her life. She wasn't doing well financially. And she happened to just tell me, I guess she was trying to, impress me. Oh, my cousin is Les Wexner. Do you know who he is? And I didn't know at the time, like, I didn't know who he was. And she was like, oh, he owns L Brands, Victoria's Secrets and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, good for you. I'm thinking, nice. Okay. And she was just saying, like, she's not close with him, but she wanted to have him help her out financially. And she was saying, like, I think, like, you can write so well. Like, would you write a letter on my behalf? Would you contact him at his New York penthouse? And she was constantly trying to get me to contact Les Wexner on her behalf. But I did feel sorry for her because my feeling for like family, like if you have a family member who's suffering, and you have multiple billions of dollars. Like, I don't know. I don't know how you guys are, but I don't know if I could watch a family member suffer. So I kind of had a heart for her because, you know, she had kind of a sad story. That's why I was helping her out. But then, you know, you start observing things, and I observed her treating other people very abusively. She treated me very abusively. And I was just thinking, okay, there's something to that if your cousin doesn't want to be close with you. I mean, now we know our families don't want to be close because of just the way we think about, you know, certain things. But at that time, you know, I was just like, why wouldn't her cousin want to help her out, you know? And I was like, okay, now I see why. Okay, she's a terrible person. So, you know, I was like, I don't blame Les for not dealing with her, you know, because he did do some nice things. She told me she was very obese, and she did that to her. I mean, it was a lifestyle thing. She was very like greedy and just, you know, a gluttonous person. And she became very obese. And, you know, that was something that he wanted to help her out with. And, you know, she took the gift basically of, you know, this gift that he was going to help her with. And she totally disrespected him, like without giving you the details. It's like she let me know that he did do some nice things for her, but she was ungrateful at the same time. So anyway, needless to say, I almost contacted him for her. I came really close to doing it. But something, you know, your gut, when you listen to your gut, my gut was telling me, do not get involved. Do not contact him. Don't do it. Okay. Full stop. And I didn't do it. And now I'm thinking like, whoa, it is creeping me out because I'm thinking, it's weird how you have these like 6 degree of separations with people, but I'm just so grateful that I feel like God just protects me from things. I don't know at the time why I'm feeling it, but I'll distance myself from certain things. And later on, I realize, oh my God, no wonder he's the worst person ever. Okay. So anyway, just wanted to share that story time. So I call Les Wexner the bag man. And it's a dirty secret here going on. The bag man. And there's a lot we can look into, and I'll get into more when it comes to Les Wexner. We can unpack more when it comes to him. But Destiny said divine intervention. Exactly. Because, you know, I tell you, I had no reason why I wouldn't have done that for her. You know, I wanted her to have help. I mean, she needed the financial help. And, you know, she was even trying to like dangle that in front of my face, like, I'll give you some of the proceeds. And I'm like, I don't know. I've never been one to jump at that kind of stuff. I don't know. I'd rather be struggling and have a soft pillow to be able to sleep on rather than get into things that leave you so compromised. Because I know all of us have had invitations to go down roads that we could have been in the lap of luxury. And that's happened on a few occasions, you know. Let me share another story time. I was a pharmaceutical sales rep, and we had mirror partners. So your mirror partner would go out with you. You know, we go and wine and dine the doctors, go to their offices and do these sales calls. So my mirror partner he was so nice. Okay. And I say was because he committed suicide. He came from an elite family who lived on the main line in Philadelphia. If you know Philadelphia, the main line is like old money, like that blue blood. And can you all hear me? Let me know, because I notice my signal gets weak on StreamYard, YouTube. When you start hitting on certain things, I start seeing those bars go down. Can you hear me? Just let me know if I'm coming through clear. Is it okay? Let me know. All good. Okay. So anyway, this is another story. I just want to share it. It's just come to my mind. I want to share it with you all. So this mirror partner, he came from a family. His dad was a big time doctor in Philadelphia. He had like a huge practice. He was one of those doctors that literally was a multimillionaire. You know, when doctors used to literally be millionaires, that changed with the advent of course, you know, the type of insurances, the HMOs and things like that. That really cut into doctors' money. But back in the day, millennials, doctors would literally become multimillionaires. And he was a specialist in Philly. So this mirror partner of mine, he had a brother who was super successful. Like he was some kind of international pharmaceutical vice president or something. Then he had another brother who followed in the dad's footsteps and was a physician. Well, my mirror partner, he just basically went to college and he was just trying to fit into the high standards in his family, you know, and he was just a sweet man, just so nice. And we would go out on our sales calls together instead of taking two cars. You know, we park at one of our clients' offices and drive together to the next, like we do lunches. You know how that is. We'd have to wine and dine them, go to dinner and all that stuff. So we got to know each other, and he was just, he would share a lot about his life. And I knew that he was under a lot of pressure because he married a girl who was also from that sort of circle, that elite circle. And she was the daughter of a doctor, big time doctor on the main line. And she was spending his money as if he was his father. And he was just struggling to give, you know, to have a life. He didn't make a lot of money like his brothers and stuff, but he was just trying to keep up. And this wife was a monster. She would call him all the time. He'd take the phone calls, and she had irritable bowel, like, you know, she had like Crohn's and colitis and stuff. And if you know people that have these disorders, it's a personality kind of trait that comes along with certain diseases. And she would call him and say, "I'm in the ER, you gotta come." And he'd have to leave and run to the ER to be with her. And this was like almost, it seemed like once a week. He was just going through it. You know, you could just see he was a nice man. He was trying to do the best he could. And she was, remember we were talking about Yves Delorme, the sheets out of France that, you remember I showed, she was buying sheets like that. She was buying sheets from another company where the sheets were like $2,000, he was telling me. She was buying expensive designer bags. He could not keep up with her spending. And it wasn't like his father was just giving him money. His father was basically letting him be a man and just do things for himself. So he was struggling financially, and he would share this with me, and it was unbelievable. Like when you hear the truth behind certain people, even though they come from an elite background, it doesn't mean that they have the money. So he just like, he was under so much pressure. Our sales, like we had to, you know, generate sales. That was always like stressing him out. And I would always try to get him to not stress, because we had a terrible territory in inner city Philadelphia. And we were trying to sell this expensive medication that was like $6 a pill, you know, and people were having to like eat hot dogs instead of like buying their medicine. So, you know, we had to work really hard to get our sales figures. So he took it really hard. And one day I was about to take a vacation. I let him know I'm going to be on vacation and I won't be answering my phone and all this stuff. So I went on vacation. I kind of turned off my work phone. And when I was about to come back, it was only like a 2-day, just long extended weekend type of thing. And when I turned on my phone or found out, like it was the day that he literally called me 4 times. He committed suicide. He shot himself in bed with the wife. And it was so horrendous when I got the call about it. And I can't explain to you all how I felt. It was so horrible. And when I went to the house, to kind of see the wife and the family and everything, she took to me, and she just like, how people just take to you, and she just clamped onto me, and she wanted me to be her friend, and it was all this stuff. And I felt bad. She was a grieving widow. So I did the best I could to try to be her friend, and she wanted to really be my friend. And I was like, what the heck? So, you know what I noticed? I was at the house, and she had gone off into another room, and I was about to leave. So I was going to get my coat in one of the rooms. I heard this chick on the phone talking to a man, and she was setting up a rendezvous thing. Like, literally, her husband just died, and she was calling an old boyfriend or something. And it was like, I started getting weird, like, wow, what the heck is going on? And mind you, he killed himself. He used to stay up. She told me he was up late. She went to bed, and she said the next thing she knew, like, she heard a loud sound, and he had shot himself in bed with her. Very violent. And a lot of my doctor friends that I talked to after that, they had a lot of opinions about anything like that. But one of the things that she did, she wanted me to get in business with her. And I'm only saying that because I want you all to know that we are protected from so much. This is early on in the internet pornography business type of thing. You remember the early days? She wanted me to get into a business that dealt with internet pornography. And she promised that we would become stinking rich. And I was so stunned, really stunned. I had never had an invitation like that. You know what I mean? And this is a woman, like I said, from the mainline Philadelphia, blue blood. And I could have gotten caught up in the whole thing, because when I was going to her home, her family's home and stuff, big, huge mansions, that kind of money. And I turned her down. I was like, yeah, I can't do that. And she tried to entice me with the money. But I'm just letting you know that, yeah, City Line Avenue, you know about the main line. Yeah. So anybody who knows about Philadelphia, you've got West Philadelphia, born and raised. You've got across City Line Avenue. That's what starts the main line. Haverford, you've heard of these areas. Yeah, Abby. So you just think about how you've had brushes with certain things, elements, and you realize, like, you could have been rich. You could have had all these material things, but what would be the price? What is the price for that? So that was just a story. I know it's a little sidebar. I've taken a long time talking about a few things, but I just want to share that with you. Because, sometimes you have family members, they come down, they're like, judging you for the things you don't have. But you kind of think about, wow, I could have had these things. And yeah, you guys would have been real cool with me because I would have been rolling in the money. But the cost, I'm not willing to pay that cost. So yeah, I struggle. So yeah, anyway, enough of sharing. I want to share that Les Wexner, back to Les. Les is the money man behind this operation. And Jeffrey Epstein, it turns out, the more I'm digging, remember we were looking at the timeline as to Ghislaine's father's death. And then shortly after his death, she meets up with Jeffrey Epstein. Well, allegedly, with some of the things that I'm seeing, Jeffrey Epstein knew her father possibly as early as the 80s. Now you do that math. There's a lot of funny stuff going on right now. So I knew it didn't make sense to the timeline of how her father is a disgraced media mogul and alphabet agencies he's allegedly connected to. And he suddenly takes his yacht out that's named the Lady Ghislaine. He goes out by himself on a vacation to the Canary Islands or whatever, Falkland Islands, wherever. And he falls off of his yacht to his death. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. His staff on the yacht said, again, he didn't seem distraught. So it is weird. And then because he had pillaged the pension funds of his employees at the Mirror and the media, the whole media empire that he built, he and his sons were involved because the sons had to actually go to jail. They had to answer for that. So this is a disgrace on the family. Ghislaine moves to New York City shortly after that. And she meets conveniently Jeffrey Epstein, who is bankrolled by Les Wexner because Epstein did not grow up with money. So Wexner being a multi-billionaire, what do you all think? Come on, makes no sense when you look at this and just say, come on, it's a head scratching kind of thing. So Epstein obtained properties. They were sold to him by Les Wexner for $1. $1, everybody. So weird, very, very weird. And Les Wexner, for anybody who doesn't know, let me make that a little bigger for you to see. If you know about the Limited, his L Brands empire includes the Limited. Now, being a Gen Xer, when I was in college at Spelman College in Atlanta, almost every student wore these sweaters. If you are a Gen Xer or a boomer, don't you remember these sweaters that came from the Limited? I mean, people had these things in every color. So the Limited was really popping back in the 80s, okay? So Les Wexner built this empire, and also in his empire would be Bath and Body Works. So if you are someone that shops at these kind of stores, I want you to realize who is behind it and what we have been supporting and we did not know. Tracy, you remember those sweaters? Yeah, right? They were big. And they were big in the 90s too? Oh, okay. Hey, Katie did. Thanks for catching us. Thank you so much. So yeah, that was, Sean says, Gen X here, you live 25 minutes from Wexner. Okay, so you probably would agree that they say Wexner pretty much owns Ohio. Ohio is Wexner land, and it is pretty crazy. Also, for those that don't know, included in this L Brands is Victoria's Secrets. So Victoria's Secret's huge moneymaker for them. And Abercrombie and Fitch. So if you have children that are millennials that grew up like my daughter and they always wanted to go in these stores, I hate going to the mall. And if you have a daughter, you have to kind of take it for the team and go into the malls. It's so obnoxious. So I'd have to go into Abercrombie. I didn't buy her stuff from there because she's like an only child. So the grandparents always bought her clothes. It wasn't like she needed anything. She would just want to go in there because that's where the teens want to go. But this store it always had a weird vibe, you know. I lived in New York, and I remember, like, if I'd walk down Fifth Avenue, one of the big Abercrombies, people would line up just to go in there. That was like a tourist trap. And they would always have these scantily clad males, boys, teenagers, always out front, always in the front door. Do you know what I'm talking about? Really weird. But when you look into Les Wexner, you'll understand more. And I'm not going to say much other than that. You do the connections. So you only see males right here. And this is a picture that I found when they're dressed, okay? Because if you look up Abercrombie on the internet, you'll see guys with the shirts are open and the six packs, and it looks pretty pervy. Really weird, okay? And I know that they, they kind of attract the young teenage girls too, but what else do they attract? What else is going on? Allison, hey, thanks for being here. You said, so sad. I am a boomer from San Francisco where A&F, Banana Republic, and Victoria's Secret all started and were fabulous stores until they got hijacked. Yes. I mean, this was the legacy of growing up in our times, like if you came into, the 80s and you were growing up in that time period, these brands were just so prolific, but now that you see who's behind it, it is time for us to reevaluate everything. So Les Wexner owning Abercrombie, and this is Les Wexner and his wife, Abigail. Now, I want to read a little bit about him. I'm going to read from Wikipedia, which, I tell you, I start there, but I don't always trust the narrative. But let me just tell you what they're saying, Wikipedia. Okay, Leslie Herbert Wexner, born September 8th, 1937, is an American billionaire businessman, the founder and chairman emeritus of L Brands, formerly Limited Brands. Wexner grew a business empire after starting The Limited, a clothing retailer with a restricted selection of profitable items, and later expanded his holdings to include Victoria's Secrets, Abercrombie and Fitch, Express, Bath and Body Works. Wexner announced in February 2020 that he was transitioning from CEO of L Brands into the role of chairman emeritus. Wexner had a very close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein that began in the 1980s and continued until at least 2007. Wexner allowed Jeffrey to run his business out of a house he owned and resided, whilst CEO of Victoria's Secrets. So he was born in Dayton, Ohio, and his parents were both of Russian Jewish origin. His father was born in Russia. His mother, a first-generation American, was born in the Williamsburg neighborhood of Brooklyn, and moved to Columbus, Ohio as a toddler. So he went to Bexley High School and Ohio State University. He expressed an interest in agriculture, but he majored in business administration. He is a member of Sigma Alpha Mu fraternity, and he served in the Air National Guard, and he briefly attended the Moritz College of Law. And let's see what else. It says in 1963, Wexner was lent $5,000 from his Aunt Ida, which was then matched by a bank in order to start the Limited. And let's see. Wexner had a close relationship, again, with Epstein, and he was the primary billionaire client of Epstein, a financier. that claimed to only work with clients with a net worth of $1 billion or greater. That's kind of funny for a math teacher. Real weird. Epstein became Wexner's financial manager in 1987. Wexner purchased the New York property, the Herbert N. Strauss House, in 1989, and later transferred it to Epstein in the mid-90s following his marriage to Abigail. And in 1991, Wexner granted Epstein power of attorney and also instated him as a trustee on the board of the Wexner Foundation. Okay. And then it goes on to talk about all of his philanthropy. That is an automatic red flag. I see the United Way. I see the Wexner Center for Arts, Ohio State University. He did a lot in terms of leadership roles in the Jewish community, the Wexner Foundation, and he formed the study group with Charles Bronfman. Is that the Bronfman that I'm thinking of? Nexium Bronfman? I'd have to look into that. Lots of names here, everybody. You know how it is. So when he was 55 years old, he married Abigail Copel, 31, an attorney, and they have 4 children. I'll keep the children out of it, but let's see. I'm just going through some of the stuff here. He owns a yacht. We talked about his yacht, remember? And it's called the Limitless, and it's the largest privately owned yacht in use. President George W. Bush appointed Wexner to serve in the honorary delegation to accompany him to Jerusalem for the celebration of the 60th anniversary of the State of Israel in May 2008. Wexner was inducted as an honorary member into the 104th class of Sphinx Senior Class Honorary at the Ohio State University in 2010. Sphinx, as in Egypt. And he sits on the board of trustees. And now the medical center is Wexner Medical Center at Ohio State University. So that is a little bit about Wexner, okay? His wife, Abigail, is very active as well, as you can see. Let's see. I want to share this about Ohio, which I didn't know. In fact, Columbus, Ohio, is the 3rd largest hub of human trafficking. Do you hear me? The 3rd. The first hub would be Los Angeles. So if Columbus, Ohio is 3rd, there's something going on that we're going to look into. We're going to table that, and we're going to do a little more digging around. And there's also a big logistics hub in the area of freight that goes out locally and internationally out of Ohio. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? Yeah, so you all know about that, some of you? Yeah, Ohio, major sex trafficking. Who knew? In fact, they say if you are around the Columbus, Ohio area, there are so many, billboards that are telling people what to do in order to avoid being trafficked. That's how much they discuss human trafficking in Columbus, Ohio. So they say that it being the number 3 hub That's where victims are taken before they leave the country after they're trafficked. They go to Columbus, Ohio before leaving the country. So that is something we need to know about. So let's see what else I wanted to kind of share. You say Indiana is another one? I wouldn't doubt that. Yes, Allison, that is something that I learned about. Huge trafficking tunnels in Ohio. I heard that there are tunnels allegedly coming from the Wexner estate that go as far as Canada. Okay? Allegedly. And he has several properties, of course, all over the world. I want to talk about the fact that his Victoria's Secrets brand has contributed to more depression in young women because of the body standards that are unattainable for many women. And it has contributed to a lot in just, they say, a lot of depression and body image problems. So you can look it up, in terms of the culture that it promotes, the bone thin women and the big boobs and, not good. So it contributes, like I said, to poor body image, eating disorders, anxiety, and depression. So it's just unfortunate that there are a lot of things that we are having to reevaluate. And also it looks like he stepped down as of yesterday in the news. Like we're seeing a lot of people stepping down. If you want to drop it in the chatmosphere, who you have heard of stepping down in terms of CEOs and different people of boards of different companies. We had the Twitter guy step down. We've had Les Wexner step down as the chair of the Columbus Partnership. And he's already stepped down as the CEO of his brand that he built. Kind of weird stuff. What are you guys thinking is going on? And what else has he stepped down? Les Wexner also stepped down from the Ohio State Board of Trustees. His wife, Abigail, has stepped down from the L Brands board as well. And what else have they stepped down from? It's a lot of stepping going on, a lot of stepping down. So let me see. I was looking to see if there was any other step down. Anybody want to drop any? CFO of Walmart, thank you, step down. Walmart and Goldman Sachs. Disney, we got step downs there. It's a very long list. And it's a very interesting time to see a lot of stepping down, right? So let me see if you added some more. The Uber Eats CEO stepped down recently. Yeah. Okay. Step on down. Allison said all the big guns are stepping down. Apparently so. Jack Dorsey. Yeah, we got him covered. CEO of Uber Eats, Walmart, Disney, stepping down. As well as mega church pastors and evangelists stepping down. Okay. Twitter and CNN. Yes, indeed. So you said Roxanne said there's a long meme on Telegram listing all of them. Oh, that'd be great if anybody could share where we could see that. Which Telegram page is that, Roxanne? we'd love to see that. So where else? Oh, I want to share something about this group. One of the women, I think it's one of the Farmer sisters, she was saying that, now this is her account of being trapped in the Wexner. Let me go back to that to show you one of their properties that's in the Columbus, Ohio area. You can see how they're slumming. Oh, this is Abigail. Not a nice lady, okay? Very cruel from the accounts given by the various people that were children at the time. Okay, so right here, this property in Columbus, Ohio. One of the young girls at the time, children, yeah, New Albany. Thank you, Sean. It's called New Albany, which is a suburb of Columbus. Columbus, by the way, is a beautiful city. I've visited Columbus. I like Ohio. Like I have friends in Ohio. They're probably not friends anymore. They don't like me because since 2020, you know. But anyway, I've had good times in Ohio when I've gone to visit. I have family. I don't know how many are still in Cleveland. But anyway, back to this property here. One of the girls who was trapped in this property right here, she gave an account of being basically a sex slave and she couldn't leave. And she was treated really badly. She said basically that they have pinhole cameras everywhere. In fact, Les Wexner, everything had cameras everywhere, including Epstein's properties. That's why the 4 women that are testifying, the Janes, really, they don't have to give testimony because there is so much video evidence of these crimes that that's all we need. And this case is a done deal. If these videotapes ever see the light of day. And she was trapped in this property. She said that the Wexners and Ghislaine, they basically told her that because she wasn't Jewish, she couldn't eat at the country club because they wouldn't serve her. And they told her she was just a basic white girl. And she said they looked down on her and she felt very, like it made her feel less than human. And again, we're talking about young girls. So to be treated that way, not being given enough food, and you're living in, she was entrapped in this, posh, property, mistreated. And she said, even when she went to the bathroom, they were watching her in the bathroom, and she would hear over like an intercom, she would hear Ghislaine hollering, saying, "Get out of the loo. You've been on the toilet too long. Get out of the bathroom." Can you imagine? Nowhere are you experiencing any privacy. So imagine living under those conditions. I would just imagine like the bathroom, at least that would be one place that you could find some refuge. But even there, they were watching her. And this is just something that has come out. The cameras were installed everywhere. Les did not trust anyone, as you can imagine. And Epstein did not trust anyone. And to have a honeypot operation that blackmailed especially politicians so you could control and do all kinds of things like geopolitically, because I'm going to get into that stuff later. The nation that cannot be criticized. We're going to get into that because It's time to talk about it. And the racism that this particular woman overheard, she said they hated Black people as well. What they said about Black people was, she said it was unbelievably cruel. And, you know, that's just something that I'm just going to say to the powers that be. If you don't like what I'm talking about, too bad, because you all want to always talk about Black Lives Matter. Well, I'm a Black life, and this is a Black voice, and my Black voice matters. So do not touch this video, okay? Or I'm gonna accuse you of racism that you love to point at everybody. I have a right to free speech, right, everybody? So yeah, extremely racist, extremely elitist. If you are not in the club, you can't go to the country club. There's something wrong there. And we are not going to be bullied into silence and told that we're racist, that we're anti-Semites. Because let me tell you one thing, nobody better not ever throw that at me. Because I have lost friends, like I said, I have lost friends over my blind loyalty to that nation that you cannot criticize. I've lost friends because I was such a on fire evangelical Christian, and that is what they do. You are under constant programming to see one group of people as God's chosen ones. You are taught to idolize this group, to just about worship them. They cannot do anything wrong. I have a problem with that now. And you know what? That nation that cannot be named is going to lose a lot of support because people are waking up and they're sick of it. Now, to the good ones who see it, you have to call it out too. Just like I call out the Black Bulle, the toxic Black element, I don't have a problem calling them out. I've lost friends too, calling out the Black Bulle. We got to call out all of them. Because when you cannot criticize a group, that's who controls you. And I'm tired of this. Because the stuff that I'm learning about is beyond repulsive. And God is going to judge it harshly. I cannot wait for the day that this entire operation comes down. And I don't care about any loyalties to anybody. Everybody is on the table. If you've been messing with children, I don't give a crap. If I once supported you, I want everybody to be accountable, to give an account now for what is happening to children. Les Wexner should be in this trial. We've got 5 more weeks. We've only had the first week of this 6-week trial. Les Wexner's butt better be on, he better be called. If he's not called and all of the co-conspirators, then we're going to know what we're dealing with. And the judge trying to keep everything secret, because listen to the hypocrisy. The stuff is too unsavory for the public. Are you freaking kidding me? When we have all kinds of perverts trying to teach pornography to children in schools, now you want to shield the public from unsavory things from this trial? Oh no, you're not getting away with that, because we are awake. And all of this protection is going to stop. Because see, the church, the evangelical church of America, You're on the hook too. You're on the hook too. That's right. No one is above the law. No one. Period. Because God is judging now. God is judging. He got involved now because this stuff is coming to the light of day. Nobody, you can't hide. You can't hide from the glare of God. And what did he say should be around the neck of anybody who harms a child? Millstones for everybody. You get a millstone, you get a millstone, Abigail. You get a millstone less. And the thing about these agencies, the thing about Satan, the devil, whoever you want to call him, Lucifer, whoever you want to call him, when he gets finished with his tools, he breaks every last tool. There's no loyalty, no love. You sold your soul to him so you could have houses like this, so you could live in luxury. I bet these people don't get a minute's sleep. I bet they do not have peaceful sleep. They are constantly, anytime you have to have pinhole cameras everywhere. Whoever thought living like that is a gift? It's not worth it. Just make sure you never wish that you could trade places with these pigs for what they have done to humanity. It's over. It's over. Period. And there you go. Abigail Wexner. They say just about every hospital in Ohio is named after these people. Fact check me. But she has her name plastered all over hospitals and research centers for women and all this stuff. I'm over it. Okay? I am over it. Nobody should ever feel jealous. Now, I want to say this, okay? When we deal with the relationship between the Jews and the Black people, we've had pretty good relationships. I grew up in Philadelphia, in Mount Airy, Jewish friends. It was a Black and Jewish neighborhood, right? My dad married to a Jewish woman. He converted to Judaism. I grew up in synagogues. I grew up celebrating Jewish holidays and Christian holidays. Okay? So I used to cringe every time I saw a Volkswagen or a Mercedes. I mean, really, really, really entrenched. Okay? Now, I used to knit. I lived in LA, like I said. I used to knit with a group of Jewish women, older Jewish women, in Thousand Oaks. And one of the things that one of them, I got into a little tiff with her because we would sit around and most of the women were really nice. And I was like one of the only Black women that would knit. One of the women, she thought it was cool to start talking about the Ethiopian Jews that were making Aliyah to Israel. And she called them some nasty names. Now, I'm right here at the table, and she's telling me that they don't want them in Israel, that they are dirty like animals, and they had to teach them hygiene, how to wipe their butts and wash their hands. Hello, excuse me. I had to check her because I have traveled to Ethiopia. I have worked with Ethiopian Jews, okay? Excuse me, lady. They are not nasty. They have excellent hygiene, no matter how impoverished they are. How dare her? And I told her that. How dare you? So there are some issues. And I have been privy and heard some of this stuff. Okay. So we got to talk about some things, family, that are uncomfortable. I'm not going to be silenced. And I don't care about being called any names. The names, I'm over it. I'm over it. We all have to be accountable for what our people have done on this earth. No one is above reproach. Period. So, Victoria's Secrets, for whoever wants to continue supporting these businesses under the L brands, I want you to know that they have clothing that is child labor, basically child abuse labor from Burkina Faso in Africa. So all of that cotton that goes into making those clothes, it is children that are being treated like dogs. Okay, 13-year-old children and younger. So if you want to continue to spend your dollars with Victoria's Secrets, check into how they get their raw materials. Because people are going to have to answer for what they have done. They're going to have to answer for it. So I'm a little heated. And I think about some of these things, it's beyond. So I want to stop the screen, see what you're talking about. PH2 Joy, their bras are crap. Penny Lane, I will never shop there again. Yeah, I've heard that, Sunny D. There was possibly tracking allegedly in the bras. Mm-hmm. Karen says Ethiopian Bible is 800 years of knowledge prior to the Christian Catholic Bible. It holds missing books. Yes, Ethiopian Christianity, it dates way before. Very, very, very old. Okay. And when you're in Ethiopia and you see the Coptic Christians, and I've not ever gone to El Aqsa, but I one day would like to visit El Aqsa, and that is where they reportedly kept the Ark of the Covenant for years and years. Because you know about the Queen of Sheba from Ethiopia and Solomon, right? Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, or is it David? Fact check me, Bible fact check me. I've been away from the Bible a little bit too long. But yeah, Arias, you're saying, I believe they found the book of Enoch in Ethiopia. Exactly. That's right, the guru. God doesn't like ugly. He's not too keen on cute either, okay? But God does not like evil and ugly. So I'm just saying, like, I don't play when it comes to Ethiopia. Now she crossed the line with me with that lie. Especially, I mean, I go to Ethiopia. You're going to try to tell me I'm in the most impoverished area, supposedly, of Ethiopia. They are so clean. Clean. Solomon, thank you. So the Queen Sheba, King Solomon, they got together and had a child, right? Yeah. So Ethiopia factors in very, 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 very big in biblical history. And there are Jews from the other tribes. Okay. So anybody, quick lesson. What is a Jew and who is a Jew? Who's Jewish? Because Jewish is not a race. Jewish is not a race. Hebrew All these things. People are, I don't know if they want to just try to claim and be elitist about this, but there are Ethiopian Jews who have just as much right to the land of Israel as any other Jew. And when they make aliyah to Israel, you have to answer for how you treat them when they're there. Because I've heard a lot that happens in Israel towards the other tribes, the more melanated tribes of Israel. You have tribes that are they are down in, where is it, like Zimbabwe? I'll fact check me. It's a tribe I have forgotten, but I used to do a lot of work with a ministry out of Arizona, and we would do medical clinics in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Okay, so there are many lost tribes of Israel. They don't all look like one group of people. So yeah, Israel, you have some answering to do for how you treat the melanated Jews, period. So I'm going to go to Twitter, and like I shared with you, there's a man who is doing exemplary work. So just so you know, Inner City Press, if you even want to head over to Twitter, if you still have an account, or if you want to start one just to follow him, he does amazing, what would you say, independent journalism. Now, this man, you just I won't read through this, but you could read it here on the screen. This man used to be a journalist for the UN. Now, he tried to get this trial at least to be televised on the phone, where you could call in. Remember, we all got gagged and we couldn't call in. So that was all done by design. Everybody, you could have your theories if it's really going on or whatever. But he fought to have this trial made public, at least that way. And he was shut down. So, we owe him a great debt, because he is a real boots on the ground journalist. And he was the one that asked a question about the Terramar, because the UN gave Ghislaine an audience for her and her country that she was starting. So the UN needs to leave our country. There's no way we should have the UN on our soil. The UN is basically like their own country. Why are they here? They need to leave, and leave now. And there's somebody that sits on her Terramar thing from the UN. And this brave man from Inner City Press called it out. And guess what? They banned him from the UN. And he's given them the business. So if you want to head on over, like I said, he's doing excellent journalism. Inner City Press. So I'm going to stop it there, and I'm going to say pimps down. Pimps down. Do you know what that is? Pimps down. So we're tired of the pimping of humanity. And nobody is above anybody. All this like slavery and everything, this is coming to an end. We are not going to have modern day slavery. And for my Black people who always want to harp about slavery from the past, guess what? It's still going on. So if you want to talk about slavery that you were never alive for, why don't you get concerned about the fact that it's going on now? How about you get involved with the fact that we need to be concerned about slavery, modern day slavery, and we need to stop it. That's right. Down with pimping. Pimps down. Hey, God's Ollie. Ethiopians were Ethiopians were related to Ephraim and Manasseh. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely shut down the UN. They are anti-American and on our dime and our soil. Yep. They need to get the heck out of here. So I've been fired up. I want to thank you for joining me. I'm going to talk more about this stuff. Sorry, my lighting doesn't want to behave. But I'll be talking more about this as I get more information. And I want to get into this a little bit. Adam said, pimp, wait, I'm from the tribe of Ephraim. Oh, nice. Adam says, pimp slap the pimps. That's right. Yeah, pimp slap the pimps. We're done with it. It is horrible. And we're not going to be silenced. We're not. And I want to see big names. I want less named. I want to see him named. You can see me fine without the light. Yeah, the lighting is just not behaving right now. All my little equipment is janky. It's fugazi. So I will be back possibly to chat and see what you all are saying. Jay Blair, I see something you're putting in the chat there about TD Bank. You've been mentioning that you've been trying to educate us on TD Bank equals slavery. Okay. Shayna says they are all bedfellas. Yeah, apparently so. So Adam said, pimp slap that lamp. I know that's right. So yeah, I just wanted to share that we're not letting Les Wexner off Abigail. Ghislaine is being named, but Ghislaine is not the biggest one here. She's not. She's just the tool that became expendable that they're breaking now. And I'm not a feminist, so I don't care about the whole, thing about the woman is taking the fall. She's not getting not an ounce of sympathy from me. But again, there are bigger people involved, and there are countries involved and agencies involved, and they've been involved in every aspect of our culture and society since the 1920s and 1930s on down to the assassinations that happened. They controlled Bill Clinton. It's even said that Monica Lewinsky was a gift, and she was sent in to compromise Bill Clinton. They knew all his weaknesses. He had some strong weaknesses. So yeah, they send in Monica Lewinsky. And you can imagine what was going on while we were distracted with all of the salacious details of everything that went on in the Oval Office and the cigars and the blue dress and all of that. What else was going on? We had the Iran-Contra, we had the gun running and all this stuff in Central South America, right? A lot of stuff going on. So this is all a part of it. It's so much bigger. So we're going to continue digging into this. We're not going to get caught up on, all the details of every day of this trial. I mean, I'm not too much interested in they're trying to discredit these 4 women. I think it's horrible that these 4 women are being attacked. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Dershowitz, his name is coming up a lot too. Isn't he still in the media? Why is Dershowitz even walking around? Seriously. And didn't he have something to do with OJ? I keep making parallels to OJ, but it's just same players, and they need to go down. They need to go. They will be going down because God wins. They don't win. They're not going to keep getting away with this stuff. It is being exposed. And that's it. We're done. Yeah, the Cuomos and Fredo, he had to step down. They say he was, what is the word? He was indefinitely suspended. They won't say he's fired, but yeah, we mentioned Prince Andrew a few times. Yeah. I mean, this guy's disgusting, Prince Andrew, and all the people that know things, again, they say, watch the wives. They know things. Fergie, where are you, Fergie? You know things. Disgusting. So that is what we will continue to talk about. Again, if you want to tip your hostess, and I appreciate it all, there you are. And I want to jump into the chat. Who did Pops ever show up in the chat? Remember, I gave a shout out to Pops. I didn't see his comment the other day. I was like, oh, Pops was saying things and I didn't even see it. Yes, Marlon, Mena, Arkansas. Lot going on. A lot. Let's see. What else? Layati. Anyone notice Virgil Abloh was on? Yes, we talked about that a little bit, Layati. I mean, they've tried to debunk that list and say that, oh, that was dismissed. That doesn't mean anything. Everybody is still anybody attached to all of this, because we know this was a huge operation. So, everything's weird. The timing of it all, it's all strange. Hey, Tink. Tink says, Les Wexner, check out Ohio State Hospital, sick people. He has a mansion not far from Columbus, and Epstein was there on multiple. Yeah, exactly. Ohio is Wexner country. And, he has all kinds of stuff going on. And yeah, ciao, Laura. Thank you so much. And I will be seeing, Fauci should be next. All the names. Yes, Laura. The Rothschilds. Yeah, Lynn Rothschilds. All of them. All of these names. So thank you so much, DeMoney Honey. I'll see you all soon. And have a good rest of your night. Thanks for joining. I know it's been kind of late. Where's White Medea? Has she been around? Has anybody located White Medea? What's she up to? If you're in here, White Medea, thanks for staying up late. If she's here. All right. I will talk to you later. Ciao.